Hi, Julie.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Good grief, you've been like everywhere.
I know. I'm feeling the pressure because our oldest son is going to be a junior this year in high school. I'm like, we got to fit in 25,000 vacations before he leaves. So yeah.
Yeah. That's
And
great.
yeah.
You remember those way more than you remember meeting with me.
Hopefully, right?
I hope so. If I'm the highlight of your life, that's a sad life. So, so you wanted to talk about your competition images?
Yeah, if you don't mind. I'm feeling a little pressure here.
Okay.
Cutting it down to the wire.
Yeah, that's okay. Mine went in last Thursday, so you're not much ahead of me. So,
Okay.
so I allowed you to share your screen if you want to share your screen. Is that what you want to do? Or
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, here we go.
and I'm going to step aside and fill up my water just 1 second. So,
Okay.
okay. So how many images do you have in preparation for this?
Well, I'm still working on them because, you know, I got all the time in the world, but I'm considering, let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up on my screen.
Okay, so if I just said, don't enter this, it's not going to reflect, you still have options. I just want to know, like, okay, if you only had 4.
Right.
It's a different, okay. Okay, so I think it'd be best if you just kind of flip through them real fast. You know,
Okay.
2 or 3 seconds a piece. Let me get a sense of them and then I can help you.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
See the cat on a stool right now.
Yep. That's the first one.
Okay.
Another cat image. This is our cat, by the way. He's very beloved. With my son, I would, I haven't retouched, I would get rid of the writing and yeah. I know babies don't do well in competition, but that's kind of one of my main, I love babies. So I'm just throwing a couple in there. Oh, this one was one we were working on before, but
I think we talked about that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I say that looks familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shoot, sorry. Getting a phone call. Okay.
If you need to get it, go and get it. It's fine.
No, I don't. It's unknown. It's probably junk. This one I wasn't sure because the horizon, they jumped above the horizon. So that might throw it out right away, but I put it in here anyway. Another baby, of course.
Okay. Okay. So have you entered before? And
what's that?
You entered before?
Yeah.
Okay. I know we looked at some it's been so long, a few times ago, and we put a few different ones.
There was one that was the family, let me find it. It was the dog looking backwards.
Yes.
I had problems.
It was like on a pier, right? It was on a pier.
Yes. And I ran into some problems changing the color of their shirts.
Okay.
Was the let me find it here. It's this one. So we were talking about changing the flipping it horizontal. So
Uh-huh.
the red this way. These two pink shirts, I don't know. I couldn't do it. I don't know. My Photoshop skills, I guess, aren't as strong as I thought.
But
But
what did you do to try to change them, Julie?
I selected it, and then just messed around with hue, saturation, and color balance. It just wasn't looking good.
So my favorite tool for that, now it doesn't work 100% of the time, but most of the time, is to you can go and select it. So you have a bound, once you make a selection, if you draw inside that selection, it won't go outside it. I don't know if you knew that. So
What's that?
Once you make a selection, so if you selected their clothing,
Yeah.
you could select their clothing and either make it a second layer.
Yep.
Or you could leave that selection loaded. Once there's a selection, if you'd like to do a brush or a clone mask or whatever,
yeah,
it works within that selection.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, with a new layer. Yeah, that's what I did.
So try just adding a layer.
Okay, just the layer of the clothing.
Just click add layer.
Okay.
It's a blank layer.
Yep. Right. Okay, let me deselect then. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I got it on another screen. Here we go.
That's fine. Set the blend mode to color.
Sorry. Okay. Just color.
Like the very bottom panel.
Okay.
And now go to your brush tool.
Sorry, I'm taking notes.
That's fine. What color do you want it to be? Like a darker red or a green?
Maybe, yeah, like a green.
Okay, so option and click on mom's blouse. Hold down option and click.
Yeah.
Hit brush. Yep.
Sorry, I'm on a PC, so I have to convert option to alt. It's like, okay, got it.
And now brush in on their.
Okay, all right. Wow, that's a lot easier than what I was doing. Oh my God. Okay.
So what I'm saying, if you select their clothing now, like use the magic wand to select it.
Yeah.
When you brush, you don't have to worry about being so precise because it'll only brush within the selection.
Right. Yep. And then I usually mask also.
Sure.
To refine the selection.
So what I would do on this situation, if I wanted to change their colors, I would do this, create a layer, put it on color, paint the color I want.
Okay.
And then add a mask and go back and refine it if I need to. But having the selection to start with allows you to be kind of sloppy.
Yeah. Sure.
Then, yeah. Because that's going to get you pretty close to staying within the lines.
Okay. So would you stick with
so color, this method doesn't work really good on whites, light grays, or blacks.
Okay.
It seems to work in those mid-tones. So you may find that because what the color blend mode does is it blends the color you're adding mixed with the color beneath it. So if it's on like a gray, so if you want to really change the color of their skirts or their blouses, you would change them to a black and white. And then adjust the black and white tonality darker or lighter, and then put a color on it.
Okay.
So if you really want it to be green, the green is mom's blouse, you would have to make them a black and white and a darker gray, and then do color on it. So what the color blend mode does is it puts the color on it, blended with the color underneath, but it allows for the texture to come through.
Awesome.
As opposed to just the painting on it with the color.
Right. Yeah. Got it.
So I use that a lot for changing clothes. If someone's hair is like mine is, dark and there's a little bit of gray. If I want it all to be dark, I could use the color and I could paint over my gray. I use it on cheeks to even out makeup, that kind of thing. So, but it will work for this as well. So just know on bright whites and pure blacks, it works kind of weird because it blends those colors together.
Got it.
So
So
That
I
being
went,
said, I still think this is a strong image. I really do.
okay,
And if you
now
do
I went,
change the color of their blouse, make sure you change the reflection too. Don't
Yeah.
miss the reflection.
right.
I've seen a lot of images where they've missed the reflection.
Okay, and then I tried to rewatch the recording so that I could remember what you said about which images or which colors to change. I know the two pinks obviously next to each other is not good, but I couldn't get the recording. I clicked on it last night and it said, I don't know if it said not available.
Oh, yes. Zoom, I apparently exceeded my Zoom cloud storage.
Okay,
And so it's only the most current one. So now I'm recording to my computer and then I'm putting them on YouTube. So yeah,
okay,
I was using the cloud. I was using Zoom storage and I exceeded it. So they took care of that for me. I'm sorry for that.
that's okay. So is that lost forever then?
I can see if I can look. Yeah.
I mean, if it is, it's fine. It's just, then we need to talk about what colors then for these, and what other changes, because I can't remember, and I wish I would have done it right then, but life.
I don't
So,
see any recordings that have, mine go back to June 22nd, but none of them have your name on it. So,
okay,
yeah. I
all
think
right.
it's just a Zoom. It's like you exceeded your limit, and they just, so.
That's okay. So
Yes.
then I know we talked about burgundy and, well, what would you do? What colors would you change on that? If this were your image and you were submitting it for competition, what
I think
change?
the girl on the far right, if her color matches the boy.
Okay, which boy? The burgundy?
Yeah, the boy the mom's holding in the water.
Got it.
And I think if the other girl was either the green or the blue or another color in that mid-tone. So blue, green, brown, a mustard that matches the leaves on the upper tree. I think any of those colors would work. Because think of what you have, Julie. You got that nice dark green, that nice dark blue. And if you look at your scene, you've got some green from the pier, nice mustard colors, nice dark greens from the leaves. You're going to change out the sky to make it not be so blown out, which matches the blue of dad. So I think if you fit anything in that family, you're great. I just wouldn't do the two girls the same.
Right.
Yeah.
And get rid of pink altogether. Yes.
I would get rid of it because pink is the only thing that doesn't, I mean, the girl in the white, it kind of balances the dog, the boy and the dog. So
Sure.
Have you heard of the rule of three?
For colors?
Well, the rule of three is kind of for colors, for shapes, for really all of composition. It's like anything you have, you should have three of it.
Okay.
And like I said, this is a rule of thumb. It's not hard and fast that every image should have this. So you have three whites. You got the girl, the boy, the dog.
Yeah.
Okay. You kind of have three greens. You got the green of the mom, the trees to the left and above, and then the reflection. The white, you've got, I've already mentioned the white. You've got the blue, you got a little bit of blue in the water, blue in the sky, the blue in the shirt. So pink is the only thing you don't have anything else of.
Right.
So I would match that to a color you have.
Got it.
Or a color you're going to bring in. So that's why I think matching off mom or dad's or the boy.
Yeah.
If you did a maroon, it matches the pants of the girl, the boy.
Right.
Yep. And then I think a mustard color would be your best bet to do the other because it matches the leaves you have.
All right, I'll take a look at that. And then the sky, anything else about this image to change before?
Just the sky. You've got to put some clouds or something in the sky. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, but besides those,
I think you can crop it more panoramic. And less sky.
Okay.
I think you could do that. So that I would crop it. I would probably crop it about to where, I know you can't see my cursor, but so you have all these yellow leaves.
Yep.
And then you have a green in the middle of it. To the upper, to about 11 o'clock above dad. Yes, a little lower. Yeah, right there. And then maybe a little off the bottom.
Okay.
Yep.
Right there.
Yep. And so look how the boy now is the row of thirds. That ultra excitement of the mom and the boy becomes your PowerPoint. Yep.
Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that right now. Oops.
Yep.
What happened? Oh, I see.
It's okay. Yep. That's great. And then now change the sky, change your colors, and you're good.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So that is going to be my first one then.
Yep. I think this is a strong contender. Now I can't guarantee it merits, but
well, of course. Yeah. You can't guarantee anything. I get it. All right. I'm just happy I'm going to even try again because it's just been a whirlwind of a summer.
And I think a title on this is,
oh yeah.
I think your title has to be key. Like, you know, I think the title has to, whatever it is, I don't know what it should be.
Yeah.
So, but it's got to
we were
play
talking about like, what about me or something with the dog.
How come I can't play? Whatever. So you've got to tie in why the dog and the family, somehow that relationship has to be part of it.
Yeah.
Because the judge's eyes are going to go from the family to the dog, to the family to the dog. So if you don't connect them, the judges are going to say, I don't get this image. Why are they disconnected? So the title has to connect them somehow.
All right.
So
I'll have to think about that. Titles are so hard.
I know, like, hey, you started without me, or you forgot about me, or something, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Can I play too? Something like that.
Oh yeah. Can I play too? Yeah.
Okay.
And do you know how to replace the sky? Do you need any help on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've done it before.
Okay.
But if you have tips, then I'm all ears because I don't do it very, very often.
Let's see if I have.
I'm glad there's less of it showing now.
Yes. Yeah. So I did a YouTube video. Let me see if I can find it. I'll put it in the chat if I can find it.
Yeah, I can look too, Chris. We don't need to. Actually, I don't know if I'm subscribed to your channel.
Well, it's not that great.
Maybe I am.
So this is an old, it's like from 2015, but so some of the, there it is. I'll put it in the Zoom chat so you can.
That's not you. That's some other Chris Duncan. Okay.
Well, don't put an H in it. Oh, you didn't.
I didn't.
You didn't.
No.
So I'll put it in the Zoom chat.
Okay.
It's an older video from 2015. So some of it, maybe, I don't think it's, the software doesn't allow you to do it anymore. So some of the terminology may have changed because it is a few years old, but.
Okay. I'll watch that.
Yeah, so I'll put it, like I said, in the Zoom chat.
Got it. Uh-oh.
What?
Video unavailable.
Unavailable? It's not that old. Oh, why does it say it's private? Let's change it to public. Refresh that. Tell me what it says.
Okay. Refresh.
I want to know what, why is it saying it's private?
Technology, right? Oh my gosh.
Not even. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now refresh and see if it changes it.
Yay. Okay. I will
Okay.
watch this.
Okay. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
Trying to figure out why it was private in the first place. So, I
Hey,
don't know.
we all do these things.
Anyway. Okay.
All right. So cat images, yay or nay? I wanted to do something like,
Probably this one is stronger than the one with the boy holding it.
okay, I need a good title, for this. Like,
Yeah, I would take more off the bottom.
Okay.
You're not. Yep. So you don't. Yep. At least show a solid base. I think it needs a vignette to cover the corners. You really
Okay.
got to focus in on the expression of the cat. I think the tongue out and the look, that's the story.
Okay.
So a title has to go into that.
Yep. I'll be thinking. Yeah.
I think you can come in a little bit on the the right hand side too. Remember, you're not stuck to doing a certain ratio. So
yeah.
And I think
more, you mean even?
Yep, because look at your crop guides there.
Yeah.
So yep.
Like this, you think?
I think so. It puts it pretty close to the face. Yep.
So do you want, I know there's all these different crops, rule of thirds and whatever, there's a million of them. You want, I don't even know what I have this set on. It's not.
It looks like the divine proportion. That's what I use. Golden
Which
ratio.
one?
Golden ratio. It's called the divine proportion. It's the same thing.
So that's what I have on right now. So do you want his word? Where should I be looking with that? Because with the rule of thirds, you want them lined up with those crosses, the cross point.
This isn't quite rule of thirds. It's close. I think this is a better composition than a rule of thirds.
Okay.
So the divine proportion, I know I explained this in my CPP class, but it was pretty quick because it's not on the test. It's based off creation. And so it's 1.618, whatever the math is. But if you take the end of your finger to your first knuckle, that measurement times I think it's 1.618, gives you the dimension of between the first knuckle and the second knuckle. That dimension times the same 1.618 gives you this. That dimension times 1.618 gives you this. That dimension times 1.618 gives you this. And so on and so forth. So it's a ratio and a composition that we're used to seeing in creation and the human body and in most animals. So if you put your crop guides back on that, it really works well because it gives a proper proportion between the leg, the body, and the face. And that's what the golden ratio.
Okay.
The golden ratio is based on creation, that almost every animal created, every being created follows that from where their joints bend. And I think it's 1.618 is the math. I'd have to double check that, but
okay.
Da Vinci's the one that really made this great with his art. The Mona Lisa follows it perfectly. And that's where we get the golden spiral. You've seen the golden spiral?
Yes.
Yep. It's all based on this proportion, 1.618.
If I click on one of these, will it stay up on over my guy here, my cat?
If you do always show,
always. Okay, all right, that's good.
Yeah.
So then what you're saying is this distance, and this distance is what we're looking at?
Yeah, so if you look at the middle square on your crop guide, so you have 9 squares, right?
Yes.
The middle square is your base. the squares above it and below it, the rectangles above it and below it, are that long dimension times 1.618.
Okay.
If you go to the left, the horizontal dimension, or the right, the horizontal dimension is that center dimension times 1.618. And then if you go to the corners, it's the same. That's why it goes from a rectangle to a bigger square to a bigger rectangle.
Yeah.
All changes in that same proportion.
Okay.
And so that's just called the golden, I call it the divine proportion. Golden ratio is the same thing. Adobe won't use the word divine because that's too theistic for them. But anyway, that's what it is.
Okay.
If you YouTube divine proportion, you'll find tons of videos. And there's one, I'm trying to think of the portrait Da Vinci did. What is it called? What is it called? I'll find it. It's incredible. It totally changes your
how you look at things. I would love to see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. I can't wait to watch it.
I'm trying to think what YouTube video, what image he did. Let me see if I can find it. It's called Salvatore or something. Here it is. I don't know if this is the.
In 2011, the discovery of
Yeah, I know I talk about it in my CPP class, but it's pretty.
Yeah, I couldn't get my notes out. I've got them. Actually, I've got them very handy.
So I'll put it in the chat. It's another YouTube video. So, but if you YouTube just Da Vinci divine proportion, you'll see all types.
Okay.
But what it comes from is for creation. And so you see it in the relationship between the eyes and the nose to the mouth, and the mouth to the chin, and the size of the head. And I mean, it's incredible. The Romans used it in architecture, how they designed their windows and their arches. And anyway.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to dive into that because I'm stuck on rule of thirds all the time, and I want to break out.
The rule of thirds is a cheap version of this. And the reason I preach on this is it's what we see day in day when we look at the human body. When we look at most ancient architecture was based off of this. Animals, your dog, your cat is based off of this architecture. That's why it's called the divine proportion. So everything we're accustomed to seeing in our day-to-day life is based off of this ratio and this composition. So if we can present an image to a judge in this proportion, it seems right to them. They might not know why it seems right, or even a client for that reason. It just seems right.
Okay.
And the more it seems right, the more it's accepted, and the more that's going to be judged higher, and the more it's going to be paid for,
right.
for your clients. So anyway, it's a good exercise for competition and for your regular work.
Okay. Yeah. Good. It's just that when I'm lining this up, I'm just not seeing what proportions we're talking about. Like, because to me, this and this look the same. I mean, to me, like this here and this here are almost the same, right? This is longer in the middle.
So can you crop it to where that one of those crosshairs is on the knee joint or close to the eye, but you don't want to lose the tail? That's the trick to this.
Oh, like higher? Wait, the cross point is on what?
Like either the knee joint.
Knee joint, that's down.
Yep, or the eye. But you can't lose the tail. The tail is so important in this. Okay. Or change your overlay. Change your overlay to the golden.
I could make it taller and add background.
Yep.
You mean like this?
Yep.
But then it's really not on his eye, so you need me to come in.
It's still it's close enough.
Close enough.
Yeah.
So like this would be better.
Yep.
So I can add background. Okay.
change your overlay to the golden spiral. Do they have that? It should have that, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, you can flip that spiral.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. How do you do that?
I'm not sure.
Cycle? No. Orientation.
There you go. Again,
Okay, what was the shift F? Oh, okay, shift.
you want the circle on his eye or her eye.
Oh, shift O.
One more
Shift
time.
O.
There you go. So if you put that circle on the face, that's the most powerful composition. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do it every time.
Uh-huh.
But this circle is the divine proportion in a radial form. It's called the Fibonacci sequence.
Okay.
So write that down, Fibonacci. And if you love this, if you love art, Google Fibonacci too. So your first point.
No idea how to spell that, but okay. Fibonacci.
Yeah, let's see.
I've heard of it before, and every time I'm like trying to write notes, I'm like, how the heck?
If Fibonacci
Okay, Fibonacci, what was it?
sequence.
Okay, I will Google that also.
And so what the Fibonacci sequences says is it's the first unit plus the second unit equals the third unit. So 1 + 1 = 2, correct?
Yeah.
2 + 1 = 3.
Yeah.
3 + 2 = 5.
Right.
5 + 3 = 8. 8 + 3 = 11. 11 + 8 = 19, so on and so forth.
Yeah, builds. Mhm.
Yes, it builds. And that's really the divine proportion too. So this Fibonacci sequence and the divine proportion are really what all the artists of the Renaissance used to make their paintings. And it was based on what they saw in creation. So what God created, they replicated. And so the only reason I talk about it is that's what we're used to seeing. Right. So if you see it every day, I mean, it's how cars are built. It's how houses are made. Everything that's built comes off of this, whether it's subconscious or not. And so the more we can put that into our artwork, the more it's going to be accepted and appreciated, even if they don't know why it's accepted or appreciated. So composition is much more objective than subjective as we tend to think it is. So.
Okay, so then would you crop it like this then?
Oh, yeah.
Or
So, yeah, that's a much more powerful composition to me.
instead of the tall one that was before that I had like with the crosshairs?
Crop it like that and
Crop
then
it
put the other circle on it. Let's see what happens.
Oh, okay.
Let's see what happens.
It's not doing anything.
You'll
Oh,
have to
I have to flatten it. Okay.
You'll have
got
to
it.
crop. No, you have to crop it again. Just click on the image with your crop tool again. It'll show up.
What the heck? Why does it do that?
There you go. So
No, it's way up here. Do
it's
I
way
have
up
to
there. So those are both based off the same principle. So I'm not saying either one would work, whatever you feel better with.
Okay, I'll try both.
Yep.
And then I'll decide.
The spiral is really based on a face. It's like the eye to the face to the body and the proportions between all of those. So the Mona Lisa is like the perfect example of that. Is where that really comes from. And the video link I sent you is the divine proportion based on the way he's holding his hand and the difference between knuckles to different joints. So
Okay.
they're kind of interchangeable, but they're still a little unique in their own right. But I would use those over the roll of thirds for sure.
Okie doke.
Okay.
Moving on.
Yes.
Babies.
So if you crop this, bring the ends in a little bit.
Bring the ends in.
Yeah.
Whoops.
You don't need that much. Yep. And then
Like even more?
I think this is a square. I think he's in the middle of a square. That's
Put
what I
him
would.
in the middle of a square.
Yep.
Like this, you mean?
Yep.
Or That's more of a square to me.
That's more of a square, yep. And then if you flip your, I can already see it. If you flip your overlay,
Okay. What was
you can
this?
see it's going to start with his eye to his face to his
Ah.
body.
Like this?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Getting the hang of it here.
Yeah.
So like something like that.
Like I said, it doesn't have to be exact.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So that's a very powerful composition that the judges will see, and they don't know why they see it, but they love it.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what about this image then? This, yes, or
Um,
which one do you like better, that one or this one? I don't want to do two babies.
I like this one better because I think his expression.
Okay.
I think the sleeping baby is pretty common and it's expected.
Sure.
So anytime you can show the judge something that's not expected, like this, ooh, you know,
Yeah.
of course, again, a title will help to this, but yeah, I think the eye contact is much more powerful than a closed eye baby for sure.
Okay. Anything that stands out to you on this one that you'd be like, yeah.
It looks like you're losing some texture on the right-hand side, some fall off from the blanket. And I'm sure that's just a depth of field thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the focus is for sure very narrow, and I mean,
Yeah.
You know, it's on his face. So his hands are not in focus. This foot is, this one isn't.
So I would try to do some sharpening, whatever you do, to try to bring those closer together.
Okay.
To me, the right-hand side looks so soft compared to the left-hand side.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And so I don't know if there's anything you can do to try to balance those out. I know it's because he's depressed and one side's higher and one side's lower.
Right.
You know, the right-hand side should be darker because of your lighting. So maybe a vignette or a gradient on that side could help that. Julie?
This side here. This one.
Yes.
Yep. Because the light's coming this way.
Correct. So if you say, well, this side is darker and more out of focus because that's the way I planned it. So if everything on that side goes away, by exposure, by focus, by contrast, by all of it, then it becomes intentional versus, oh, this was just a weird lighting.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Yep.
I'll work on that. I just don't know about this one anymore. I don't know. I feel like I did work on it. I brought her eyes, you know, put more light in her eyes, and I'm not crazy about this area here. It's
Okay.
not good. So I think I'm not gonna do this one.
You showed me like 3 or 4 portraits at the end. So
Okay. There's this senior, and then, oh yeah, there was that one. And, oh, that senior.
okay, so we have the family on the pier.
Yes.
We have the
And then
baby
and the dog and the cat.
and the cat. Okay, so we need one of these to round out your case.
Yeah. How do I, oh, there. Okay. Let me make sure there's nothing else. Oh yeah, that one, the baby. And then there's, I don't want to do this. I'm getting rid of
Okay.
that.
Okay.
All right. This one, that one, or this one. And there was that homework one. I remembered last night when I was going to bed. I'm like, which other ones? Because I didn't have the recording, and I should have written down which ones we talked about the last time. But I know it was the family with the dog on the pier. There was that girl that I just got rid of. And then there was a homework one where my son was helping his younger brother, and we were like, well, maybe like a quarantine kind of thing. It's black and white.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of where it even is. It's probably in 2020 somewhere. This is all personal work. I think it was one of these.
I remember that now because it was relatable to.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know, and I'm gonna waste time finding it, but I should have brought it up. It actually wasn't in 2020, and
Sorry about the recording. I'm sorry about
Oh,
that.
no, that's okay. I mean, this could take forever for me to dig through all my, yeah, I don't even know. It would take forever.
I vaguely remember it
Yeah,
because we talked about calling it like study at home or
yeah,
something.
like quarantine dilemma or something along, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was black and white, and
It was kind of photojournalistic. Yeah.
yes.
So of your portraits, I would not do the one of the girl in the black dress or the blue dress.
Okay. Can you tell me why though? I just want to learn from this. Is it?
I think it's too flat.
Too flat. Okay.
Yeah. And you notice her shoulder is more prominent than her face.
Ah.
And so when
I
you
should have had her lean forward more.
yes. So
Okay.
I like to tell my students this. I said, when you're looking at an image, you have so much real estate. So this is 2 by 3. So we could call this, 3 by 4. No, I'm sorry, 2 by 3, 6 square feet, right? So if we have 6 square feet, what do you want? If you were going to build something that's 6 square feet, what do you want the most prominent part of that real estate to be?
Her face.
And in a portrait, it should be the face. But if you drew like an area around her face and her shoulder, they would take up the same real estate. So it'd almost be like putting a couch and a couch in the same room. So if it was your den, you want the couch to be primary and maybe a chair or a coffee table or a love seat and then a lamp. And then, does that make sense how you design like the space? So think of your portrait as that same way. What's the primary real estate? What's the secondary real estate? What's the tertiary real estate? And what supports that real estate? And so in this image, her blue shoulders area of her dress is the same size real estate as her face.
Got it. Okay. Very good. We'll get rid of that one.
Yep. So look at the difference here between her face and her hair versus her dress. I think they support each other better than competing with each other, as opposed to the other one.
Okay.
So your real estate's going to be made up of brightness, focus, color, and contrast. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Do I need to repeat that? I saw you.
Brightness, no, I'm just looking at her. Brightness, color,
you run it
contrast.
mentally in your head. So brightness, color, focus, and contrast.
Focus. Okay. Got it.
So since her clothing, that cover or cover up is really close to her skin tone. The brightness of it isn't as far apart. The color of her skin tone and her clothing isn't that far apart. The contrast between her clothing and her skin isn't that far apart. And the focus isn't that far apart. So the only thing now is size, the scale of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so not a good one, huh?
So no, I'm saying this is better than the other one. So when you look at the entire image, what part of real estate on this pulls you away from what you should see based on what we've talked about?
What pulls me away from what? I'm sorry?
What part of real estate on this image pulls you away from what you should be looking at? Doesn't mean it's a contender. I'm wanting you to.
Maybe the background because it's a little bit brighter. I don't know. Is it
brighter? Okay, if you look at all, so here's the things that to me, it's all relativity, Julie. Relativity comes in sharpness and color and brightness or exposure or contrast. Contrast is probably the most powerful one that we see as a viewer.
Her shirt? Is that what you're getting at? Because it's black.
The black. So you're drawn to the breast and not the face. I think you need a little bit of the black. So I would crop it up.
Crop it?
Yep. Because the black goes with her eyeshadow. It goes with a little bit of, and bring it in. It goes with a little bit of her eye color, her pupil color.
Uh-huh.
And the rule of 3 tells us we have 3 of anything. And so now we have 3 black points. We got the eye, the shirt, and the shadow. We've got 3 yellow points, the hair on this side, the hair on this side, and the background. We have 3 neutral points, which is the skin and her garment. Does that make sense? So those colors are repeated in 3s. And somewhere in our brain, that becomes more pleasing. And it's crazy how a crop or a little adjustment can change it. So one thing I would do on this is if you crop it there, is the far right side, you've got a little bit of highlight on the other side of the tree.
Yep, right here.
That I would get rid of. Yep.
Yeah, I had some up here too, and I got rid of that.
Yep.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be exact, like, you know, on the eye.
It doesn't have to be exact, no. But what it is it where that little smallest circle is, that should be your main focus.
Right.
Everything else supports that focus in the same relation in the Fibonacci relationship of the focus plus the next area equals the next area.
Okay. So that would be an okay crop, you think?
Yep. Like I said, just clean up that on the right hand
this way. Yep. Right. Yep. This.
And so what that does is it appears that the entire, all the lighting is coming from the left to the right. I would dodge and burn to make her, I guess, her left, our right-hand side darker. So you emphasize that lighting.
Her left over here?
Yes.
Dodge.
Because that whole side, think of it as a single stroke. If we have a single stroke of light coming from, in this image, upper left down to the bottom right, correct? That's so the more we can emphasize that one stroke of light.
This way, So burn over here, you're saying, burn?
It would be, right. So burn in her shoulder, burning her hair a little bit. Don't get rid of that highlight. I think that highlight gives her shape and dimension. That's beautiful. But the right-hand side and the right bottom side of this image needs to be darker, and it's going to emphasize that strong direction of light, which is going to, when we look at our things that direct the viewer, color, focus, brightness, and contrast are all going to be back to her face. Put all of those elements, relative brightness, relative sharpness, relative focus, and relative contrast into her face and not anywhere else. And the viewer will go there and it's more impactful.
Okay. All right.
I think her expression is great. The only thing I don't like about this is that bright grass coming right between her eyes and her nose on the left-hand side.
Right here, yeah.
Yes.
So what do you recommend? Burning it then, or I can replace it to something like this?
I'm always cautious with burning because it can look really muddy and it can be processed. So somehow it looks more natural, I think is better. But
so maybe continue this color up to this color.
Yeah, because I think some of that variation is what we'd expect with trees, and that makes sense. But having bright light just doesn't make sense in our brains. It's like, oh, I see, because that's if you flip this upside down, I bet you would see that first.
Oh, I forgot that trick. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
So rotate 180.
Oh, 180. That's right.
Yeah.
So it goes right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I will do that.
Yeah. So
what about this straight hairs? Are they okay? Like I cleaned it up a bit right up here. I don't want it to look too like helmet head.
Yeah, I think it's probably okay.
Okay.
The ones around the part always are where I get bothered by the
right here.
Yes. Yeah.
So clean this up just a bit more.
Yeah, I clean up more towards the part and let the other ones go more natural.
Okay.
Yeah. That's just my preference. I don't know if that's
right.
Yeah.
All right. Great. So then that's better. Oh, and then there was that one. So do you think the senior is stronger than this one?
I like this one. I like the story of it. I think it needs to be cropped on the bottom. There's too much dock showing.
Mhm.
There's a lot of, there's a lot of sky. I think your sunset in the background is just going to kill you. I hate to say that, but I know that was the time they wanted, and that makes sense. But you're drawn to that bright blast of light, and you miss the family. Yeah, and you miss the family because of it.
Okay, so not this one.
Yeah, I think that's a great sample to put in your studio and to show with clients, but not for competition.
Okay,
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, well then I've got my 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
I
think this is your strongest. I think to be honest, try to put it in as predictable terms as I can. I think this is your strongest, then your baby,
Okay.
then the girl, then the cat.
Okay.
Here's the thing with competition is obviously you have good images and you have great images. You got good exposure, you've got good color, you've got all the technical stuff there. So it comes down to storytelling and composition and how the judges relate to it just on a personal level. And you can never predict that because you don't know who's going to be seeing your images, right?
Yeah.
I will tell you that 2 subjects tend to do better than 1. These are just general rules. These are just general rules. 2 subjects tend to do better than 1 because it creates movement in the brain. And 2 subjects, you envision a story, whether it's a correct story or incorrect story, you envision a story between the 2 subjects.
Right.
That builds impact. So 2 subjects or more tend to do better than 1. Non-smiles tend to do better than smiles because a smile is predictable. That's what we expect. Say cheese, right? All this kind of stuff that we experience in our day-to-day work. So when we see something that's counter to that, it has more impact. And I think less contrast seems to be more powerful than more contrast. If it's high contrast, it has to be high impact with high energy. So most of the high contrast ones you see that go through are like black and whites where it's black on white, right? It's that really stark, like a yin and yang. It's like very stark contrast. You know exactly where to look and you see the excitement and you see the story immediately.
Oh my gosh, I forgot to show you one.
So that's why I think this portrait of this girl is so powerful because it's a subtle contrast. It's not a smile, right? It has all of those. I mean, it doesn't have 2 subjects, but it has a lot of the qualities that tend to be more impactful than just a.
Yeah. Well, what about a title for this? I don't know. I'm lost on a title completely.
No, I think, most of the judges are parents. Or grandparents. So I think you can relate to that personal. I think titles have to relate in a personal level. So they could say, oh, I could see my granddaughter doing this, or I could see my daughter doing this, or my girlfriend, or whoever it is. I think that's what makes it relatable, as opposed to like Pretty in Pink, right? How many times have you heard that title, Pretty in Pink, or Sitting Pretty, or Audrey, or Julie? The title is just a name but if this was, what if this title was RBF? Right?
That's a good one. Because
if this was RBF, you're going to get the judges, oh, my daughter has an RBF or my wife has an RBF. And I could, then they're bought into the emotion of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that should be the title. It might be a good title, but I think that's where titles come in, because remember, they hear the title before they see the image. They don't see the image, then hear the title. So the title has to plant
Mhm.
an impression in their mind. And then the image should support that impression that you think they're going to get. So if you title this RBF,
Yeah,
if they know what RBF means,
right.
you obviously did. If they know what RBF means, then they're going to expect, oh, this is going to be some type of scowl or some type, right?
Right, they're expecting it.
And this is like, right. To me, this is a girl that's like, take my picture. I could go either way. I'm not going to give you anything other than me, right? That's what I see in this.
Yeah.
This expression. So
I think like, can we be done or something along those lines?
Right. Yeah.
All right. I'll think about it. And then I know we're almost done here, but I just thought of one that I forgot to show you. And I don't.
Yeah, I mentioned high contrast and you were like, ooh.
Yeah. Where is it? Just tell me your thoughts on this.
I like the lighting. Man, the contrast on his face is great. The expression is great. I don't like this crop. I think it needs to be much tighter.
Okay.
Way tighter than this.
Okay, because let me show you the other crop that I had.
I think his shirt takes away from his face.
So
Okay.
but his hands are out of focus. So that's my issue with this.
Well, here's what I would do with this. Look at real estate. His hands take up more real estate than his face.
Right.
Right.
That's why that wasn't why I cropped it. I cropped it because it was out of focus, but now I see what you're saying.
Square inches, his hands take up more square inches than his face.
Yeah.
And most hands are the same size as the face. If you did this, Julie.
Yeah.
And so that's why people say, show the side of the hand.
Ah.
That's why you hear that. It's not because they don't like.
This hand is the problem. This hand is okay, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the side.
Yes. But that other one, if you drew a marquee around it and took the square inches, it would be the same size as his face.
Right.
No doubt.
Okay.
So this needs to be a nice tight crop on that. That expression is what makes this image awesome, Julie.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
It's not his hands. It's not his outfit. It's the expression.
So even more?
Yep. Nice and tight. I would even come into the hat. I would bring that circle right on his eye. Even crop into the hat. Crop in the hat.
Into the hat.
Yeah. Because do you think the viewer's not going to know that's not a hat? Crop it in the hat. Bring it down. Don't be scared.
Like this? Where?
The top.
Like this?
Bring the top. There you go.
Like that.
That's what I like.
Isn't there too much over here? That looks weird to me.
Well, maybe a little bit. Bring a little bit on the right, but look at that. Oh, and then burn his clothing down.
Yep.
Yeah. And whatever. So here's the thing about cropping in a thing. Do you not know that's a cowboy hat? Is anyone not going to know?
Right.
I think of like, do you do any boudoir work?
No.
Okay. But so in boudoir work, it's always like what's not shown is more exciting than what is shown.
Right.
And I think it's part of this. It's like your brain is going to know what's there. And so I tell people when they do landscape, don't show me the top of the mountain, crop the top of the mountain off, because then I can envision how big that mountain is.
Ah, really?
Yes. I don't need to know. I know that's a cowboy hat. I don't need to see how big it is.
Yeah.
I like the story of the cowboy hat bringing me into the person, not the cowboy hat bringing me out of the image. Same with the mountain. I like the mountain bringing me into the hike, not taking me to the edge of it. So there, yeah, good title. Boom, this is great. I'm glad you remembered this. I think this is great. I love
Do
this.
you like this better than the senior?
I would do this probably instead of the cat.
Instead of the cat. Okay.
Let me see the cat again.
Okay. Oops, wrong one.
So do you have a great title on this? I think the cat has to be technique too much to merit. I think it's got to have a nice painting on it, or you change it the background. I think this is going to take more work to get to a reward than the other one would.
Okay, so maybe put it on the back burner for next year. Paint it, because I did take a class with Sandra Pierce at imaging this past year, and I have been wanting to paint something. So maybe I could just practice on this for.
And this is a beautiful portrait, and I'm sure, I mean, from a professional level, it's fantastic. But from a competition level, it's a 77.
Okay, all right, but this is better.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. All right, now I need to think of it. So burn here.
Yep, just burn a little bit of his clothing.
Okay.
I think that's really all you need to do.
Really?
Yeah, I might clean up a little bit of the highlight. There's one on his cheek.
Right here?
No, on his cheek, farther by his shirt where the stripes are. The stripes on his shirt lead right to a spot like it's
Right here? Burn here?
Right on his cheek. It's right on the side of his face. There's something.
Oh, that's it. It's a mole, but I can take that out.
Yeah, it's catching a highlight. Yeah, it's just catching a highlight. And on the tip of his nose, it's a little bright.
Right here. Okay.
But I think the other highlights, I mean, you might could bring them down a little bit, but man, his expression is fantastic.
Thank you. That's my dad.
Oh, that's great. So I think a title to this, you know, I think you could still come up a little bit from, because if I look at real estate, his chest commands a lot of real estate. So I think I could come up a little bit on his chest. I think you need to show it.
What's that?
I think you need to show some of it. I mean, don't come way up, but I think you can come up a little like there. Yeah. So
Okay.
a great title. I don't know what the title is, but
He lost his wife to COVID this year.
oh, I'm sorry. Was that your mother or stepmom or
Stepmom. So I don't know if I could. I don't know. I don't know about a title.
I don't think that goes with the story.
Yeah.
You know, I think what I see here is just a strong man that's confident in his life and sturdy in his beliefs, and is going to say what he wants to say and doesn't care.
Absolutely true.
And he doesn't care if he offends you or not. It's just, this is my belief and I'm going to say it and let it known. I think that's the story I get from this. So a title, I think, needs to tie into that. And you can make it as personal as you want. I'll just let you know, anytime you enter a family member, if it doesn't merit, it's really devastating. So,
I know.
but I think it's okay to take a personal trait from that person and try to generalize it. If you make it too personal, the judges don't get it.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
you say like, "Oh, Joe lost his wife," they're like, "What?" That's too personal.
Yeah.
Right? But if you say something like, I don't know what the title would be, but does that make sense?
Right. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'll be thinking about that.
Yep. I always say title should go to the lowest common denominator, because I've seen titles that are too fancy that the jury chair can't pronounce them.
Okay.
Right? They mispronounce them, or they use some obscure reference that not all the judges know, you know, or they're like a Latin root of the word. Like, who's going to know the Latin? Right? Or it's a scientific, like if it's a dog, it might, or a butterfly or a bird, it might be the scientific name of the bird. Well, who's going to know the scientific name of the bird except an ornithologist, right? Well, ornithologists aren't on the panel. So you have to make your title to the lowest common denominator.
Yep.
And still try to make it personal to you. And that's a trick. And I think titles, I don't think they necessarily hurt you, but they definitely help you.
Okay. All right, one quick question. I know we're over time. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay. That's okay.
So presentation is, I know that's big. So any recommendations on like the mat or, you know, the lines and all the things, color, all that?
I think a solid color from the image, darker than brighter, because you want the brightest part to be your subject.
Yep.
So like on this image, I would do a black.
Yep.
If you did that senior girl, I would do a dark brown that matches the tree. If you did the family, I would do a dark brown that matches the dock, right? So make sure it's darker than brighter.
Okay.
And I think a single or double key line that's out of the image. So in this, you know, if you say you change the girls' dresses to burgundy and green, then I think a burgundy or dark green key line on the dark black or dark brown mat would fit. I don't like texture in mats. I don't like lots of fancy stuff in mats. I think just simple. All it needs to do is contain the image and not take your eye away from your primary subject. Your subject,
Okay.
Your primary subject should not be the presentation. It should be the image.
Sure. But the width is a question that I have. So like how wide should that be? Like the actual mat, not the key line necessarily, but
I don't know. I mean, mine are usually, I think I have an action that runs it, and I think it expands it 2 inches on the canvas.
okay, that's what I was gonna say. All right.
That's it. Maybe it's 1.5, 2 inches, and that's on a 300 DPI image.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
or PPI, I should say, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one? Oh, the baby.
Yeah.
So still dark on this one?
So yeah, I think this mat would be from the darker part of the cloth or his skin tone.
Okay.
So I would still make it darker than any corner. So what I do is I like to look at the corners
Uh-huh.
because the corner is going to create contrast. That 90-degree angle is going to create contrast. Okay. So I want all the corners of the image to bring me to the subject and not pull me out to it. So I think darker, because you're going to be drawn mostly to the brighter part. So if you can make the greatest point of contrast between his cheek, the rug, and this blanket on this little quadrant of his face, right?
Uh-huh.
Make that where you bring the eye to, then select a mat that helps you do that. If it's too dark, then you're drawn to the corners of the blanket.
Right.
If it's too bright, you're drawn to the corners of the blanket. So this
Yeah.
so that's kind of my rule of thumb. I don't want to be pulled to the corners. I want to be pulled to the center.
Okay. All right. I'll work on that.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
We have till tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So
I know. So there's plenty of time. And I have a session tonight. So yeah.
you got more than 24 hours. You got plenty of time.
Oh my gosh. Story of my life. But I'm going to try. I'm going to get it in.
So yeah, I would do this one, the family, the girl, and the baby, and
Okay.
drop the cat.
Okay. Will do.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you, Chris.
My
I
bad.
appreciate you so much.
My pleasure.
I'm excited. I'll get started right away.
You want to send me something in Facebook Messenger? I'm happy to look
Yeah,
at.
maybe once I figure out my titles and do all these little things, then I'll do that. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Bye.
Bye.